me. Thank you for giving me the space and freedom to pursue what I believe matters. Your opinions are always the ones I value most. When we don't agree, I know it means I'm about to learn something important because your thoughtfulness is always revealing to me. And nothing is more validating than having your support and love. Thank you for sharing this life with me. I love you. Introduction. You've probably seen the books that prescribe a path to success. Ones with titles like 10 Things You Must Do to Be Successful and Landing the Sale Every Time. These books are a lot like fortune cookies, generic, obvious, and frankly filled with hindsight bias. A look back at some of the best-selling self-help books of the past decades will lead you to a plethora of, quote, success stories, which today are viewed as horror stories. Cherry-picked examples of profiled companies offer modern readers a glimpse into the likes of Enron, Lehman Brothers, and other now-defunct companies once touted as shining examples we mere mortals should try to emulate. What I intend to do here is the opposite. Like most women in their 40s, I've learned that the path to success must be defined by the individual. There are far too many variables in life to be prepackaged into a perfect formula that will guarantee success. Most of the fortune cookie books describe the need for grit, perseverance, and drive as their secret weapon. But look at almost any Black single mother in America, and I guarantee she's got grit, perseverance, and drive in spades that doesn't guarantee her a C-suite position. Like it or not, the bias and prejudice of the real world is a variable few self-help books consider when they're offering up their magical recipe for success. I agree many of the commonalities in those formulas are important, but in isolation, they're not going to miraculously make you a millionaire, as some have suggested. Instead, we can take a realistic view of our options and consider what we know doesn't work, and therefore what can be avoided, which I think is actually useful advice. After 2 decades of reporting on business leaders, innovators, and criminals, it's clear to me that a lot of life's outcomes have to do with the lot you were handed. However, there are common pitfalls that can prevent you from achieving your personal potential if you're not cognizant of them. You'll look back on mistakes that hampered your pursuits and want a do-over. What if someone gave you a roadmap to those mistakes? Wouldn't that be better than generic advice on what you should do? This book is about hiring people. We will assume you're reading this because you're in a position where you're hiring people, which means you're in a position of power. You now have a responsibility to hire the right people for the right roles. This sounds easy enough, right? But actually, it's an area of any business that can make or break the future. So wouldn't it be great to know mistakes others have made so you don't fall into the same trouble? That's my goal, to help you learn what not to do. This book is not a legal guide to hiring. It is instead filled with stories of mistakes people have made and hardships they've faced in the hiring process. Each chapter offers different advice about hiring, from the initial job posting to interviewing to offering a candidate a job. The stories are a mixture of reported true stories and of amalgamations of my own experiences and those experiences I've heard about in my time working as an entrepreneur, speaker, and journalist. In those composite stories where I've taken the liberty to blend stories, to make up characters and details, the subjects are only referenced by their first names in order to help the reader decipher between the accurate accounts and the fictionalized accounts. Those should not be confused with the stories of Cindy Brown, Emily Chang, Doug Levine, and Doug Stone, who bravely shared their stories in interviews for this book in hopes of helping you all avoid the same pitfalls. All other stories are fictionalized portrayals of stories I've rendered from real life. It is important to reiterate that each state has its own laws around hiring practices, and those are important to consult. This book only discusses laws and regulations in an anecdotal manner, intended to highlight how rules change, what barriers are present, and how savvy business people adapt. I believe there is much more to learn from people making mistakes or missteps than there is trying to isolate what worked. My intention is to entertain you with stories that will inform your own hiring practices and make you better, smarter, and more efficient at